this is what? This is the heading, and this is what? The text. You'll have to mix the heading. You'll have to match. You'll have to match the heading. So how you're going to do that? How you're going to do that? What could be the easiest way of doing this? Who can tell me? Where's the?
We usually start from the end.
I will always ask you to start from the end. Always. You know, that's so it doesn't take much time. What I'm doing, I'm just so I have better idea about what kind of questions. Sometimes you get, you say you get confused later on because you think that I should have checked this out first. It would have made my life easier by solving this one. So why don't you check this one? So what is this? This is a one word only. We are not solving this one. We are just checking the question. The decline of the Galapagos tortoise. We know tortoise, huh? We know tortoise. So they are talking about decline of Galapagos. So originated from mainland South America. Numbers of Galapagos. Galapagos island. Any idea? Why it's famous? It's related with what? Darwin. You know,
Darwin.
Darwin. Yes, Darwin. Charles Darwin.
You mean the theory of developing?
Yeah. The scientist, Charles Darwin.
Okay.
What he did, he went to this place in the Galapagos Island, and what was his theory? Theory of evolution, probably, huh? So this island is so isolated, it didn't get mixed up. All the animals, so and it has been like that for so many almost thousands of years. So scientists, they went to Galapagos, and it's a laboratory. It has been a laboratory, right, for natural selection, those things. Anyways, so number of Galapagos island number on Galapagos increased due to lack of predators. What's predators? Predators is what? Predators? In animals that eat. Crocodile. Okay, those who eat other animals. 17th century. Here, Amar A answer. If I want to get the answer of 8, what are the keywords? আমাদের কোন keyword একটু দেখতে হবে এখানে? তাহলে আমরা এইটাই say 17th century, small numbers, what? Taken into ships, used by something. We don't know what's that. So I just remember that. What I'm looking for, there must be a mention of 17th century, and then what? Small numbers taken into ships. I'm just trying to remember 17th century, ships, they will mention ships and small numbers. Fine. Okay, I don't have to read the list. Why I'm doing that? Because while solving the first one, the heading, if I come across that word, I will make a mark. Then what? Say, think about while I'm solving the list, the heading, I found this one here. Wait. Suddenly I found that, where is the 17th century? Anything 17th century? 17th century? Where is 17th century? 17th century, you see? While I'll be solving the first one, if I get this one, if I make a mark there,
the paragraph,
if I give
the second
mark,
line,
then what happens? Think about that, because I already know the second one starts from there. So while I'll be finishing the first one, I don't have any idea about the second one. So I go to the second one, and then I read, and then I find out that I need to find 17th century. Then what happened? I'll have to start from where? Again, usually from the very first.
From the end.
From the beginning. I never thought about, but already while solving this one, এই যে এটা যখন heading করতে গিয়ে কি হয়? We usually read the whole thing. While we are reading the whole thing, we would have come across this 17th century. Now আমি এই যে যখন এটা প্রথমটা করতে এটা পেলে কি করতাম? If I could mark it, then Other than that, I'll have to read the first part again, kind of, if I don't remember where 17th century is. You get my point? আমি আবার এটা পড়ছি, এতটুকু পড়তে তো এক্সট্রা টাইম লাগে, কিন্তু আমি যদি দুইটা একসঙ্গে একটু চেষ্টা করি, লাস্টেরটা তো শুধু ফার্স্ট লাইনটা খুঁজছি, তাহলে I know where it starts from. It helps. 1 minute save করাও, even if you can save 1 minute, it makes a big difference. আচ্ছা, heading. If you have heading, it's always better to solve the heading first. It's always better to solve the heading first. So how do you do that? What could be the easiest way? Anybody, you can tell me? What could be the easiest way of solving a heading?
We always doing multiple tasks at the same time.
Yeah, okay, that's one. That's number, because we have already done that. We know that we don't know as yet, because but we haven't come across, we really haven't come across up to now this month. So we haven't started it. Basically, we haven't started reading. So how do you use in a start list of heading? Ke bolte parben? Anybody? What could be the easiest way? And you underline? Anybody? আচ্ছা, আমাদের কে কে আছেন? আমি ওখান থেকে জিজ্ঞেস করি। Nusaira, can you help us? Are you there? Nusaira, are you there, Nusaira? Then Farzana, are you there? Farzana or Irina? Irina? Hello? Irina?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so how are you going to start this heading question? What could be the easiest way?
Sir, first read the question, then find the answer in passage.
You'll have to read the question here. How you are going to read the question? প্রথমটা পড়বেন, কিভাবে পড়বেন আমাকে বলেন তো? How are you going to do that? Read question means one thing you can do.
I don't know
Really? Okay. What I will suggest you, the best thing, say, think about you underline all these. Yeah? You underline. Okay, let me show you. What you did. You first say you underline this. Okay, keywords.
Yes, sir. We have to select the keywords.
No. Let me see. You underline the whole. Now tell me, would you remember? If you start reading from there, would you remember? What you have read? Very unlikely. You can't remember all these words, and it will get messed up. So what I will suggest you, always I will suggest you, that's my way of reading. You read one passage, paragraph, and then read the heading. Because you're reading this much, it's easy to read what? One line of seven answers. But you're reading one, sometimes people might say that, I'll be reading this one, and then what? I'll start reading the whole thing. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Okay, let's wait. Wait. Okay, let me show you how to what could be the easiest way. You don't have to do this. If you do that, sometimes you might get more distracted, and there's a possibility you will get distracted. Just do the way I'm telling you. Acha, this might help you. Acha. So my strategy will be, read this first. Read this one first. Listen. Read this first, but how you're going to read it? You should be reading in such a way. মানে আপনি যখন এখান থেকে এতটুকু যখন পড়েছেন, আচ্ছা, by the time you are done reading from here to here, you should be in a position to say, I have got only one idea, or I have got only two ideas, or three most important ideas. Usually, এই তিনটার মধ্যে any of the three will match the heading. মানে you start reading. Let's start reading. Okay, what I'm reading? Fly clockwise. Okay, and airborne reintroduction program has helped conservationists take significant steps to protect the endangered Galapagos tortoise. Okay, so they're talking about what? Is it they're protecting one? We are going to talk. Let's start reading. Forest, the first sentence is very important because this is a keyword. It is a topic sentence. Forest of spiny. Okay, let's read it together. Here, just a moment. Here. Okay, you see, forests of. I'm having some problem here. Probably I won't be able to have. Oops. Okay. Forests of spiny cacti cover much of the uneven lava plains that separate the interior. I'm trying to get the main idea of Galapagos Island of Isabella from the Pacific. You are scanning. What is scanning? Scanning and skimming? Are you scanning or skimming? Skimming is just you're reading it for the idea. Scanning is read each of the words. Forests of spiny cacti cover much of the uneven lava plains that separate the interior of the Galapagos from the Pacific, with its fine distinctive volcanoes and island resembles a lunar landscape. And it looks like what? Looks like lunar mane moon, na? Moon and landscape. Only the thick vegetation at the skirt of the often cloud-covered peak. Peak of Sierra Leone offers respite from barren terrain. What is respite? Who can tell me? Respite? Some break. This inhospitable environment is home to giant Galapagos. So all they talked about what? The terrain. And now, who is it? You know, the actor comes in. Who is the actor? The tortoise. Okay, the tortoise, where he's staying. So, how many ideas up to now? A description of the landscape, and now, Galapagos tortoise. Sometime after the Galapagos birth, around 5 million years ago, the islands were colonized by one or more tortoise from mainland South America. So they're extending on that, not too many ideas. Around 5 million, the islands were colonized by one, as these ancestral tortoise settled on the individual islands. One or more tortoise from mainland South America. So they are coming to the islands. The different populations adapted to their unique environments. The different populations adapted to their unique. If there were 5 islands, all the tortoise, they settle in different islands. Then what? Each of the islands could be a little bit different. So according to their geography, according to, change, giving rise to 14 different subspecies, depending on the environment of those islands. So what we read up to now, first, the description, and then how they evolved. Island life agreed with them. In the absence of significant predators, means those who are, animals, those who are going to attack them, there are no such animal. They grew to become the largest and longest living tortoise on the planet, weighing more than 400 kilograms, occasionally exceeding 1.8 meters in length and living for more than a century. What they're talking about? You can read it fast. Once, if you don't get new ideas, keep on reading. So what was the idea? Up to here, location, then how they gradually were settled. And then they're saying that, lots of toys, become, and here, many species. Okay. So what could be the heading? what could be the heading? Which one should be the heading for this one? The importance of getting the time to write, getting the time right, is it? Anybody who can help me?
No, sir.
No. Young, mid-old? No. Developers to the disadvantage of? Is it? No. Planning a bigger idea? No. Tortoise populate the islands?
Yes.
Or carrying out a carefully prepared operation? No. Looking for a home for the islands tortoise? Are we looking for the home?
No.
No.
No. Looking means someone is looking. They are not looking for themselves. The start of the conservation project. Was it a conservation project? No.
No.
At the beginning. So the answer is what?
Number 5.
It should be number. It should be number 5. Okay, we are done. We are done. Listen, in most of the cases, in many, what happens? What happened? In most of the places, they asked you to read what? The first 4 lines, the last 4 lines. Then if you don't find it, read the whole thing. Or, say today I read another page, the first 4 lines, then another 4 lines. What could be the easiest way? Sometimes it works, I'm saying. So what was the answers? We didn't get the answers to the first 4 lines. Mostly we got the answers the last part. You get my point? So I will suggest you, it's better to read fast, but the whole thing. You're not reading everything. You're just looking for new ideas. One idea, stick to that. Read the next 3 or 4 lines. If you have a new idea, it's a new idea. So those are 2 or 3 new ideas, and among those 3, you'll find the heading. You get my point? Okay, let's read the next one. The first line is very important. This is what always usually the topic sentences. The first line, what? Because they're going to, before human arrival, the archipelago. What is archipelago? A group of islands. Tortoise numbered in hundreds of thousands. In the hundreds of thousands. From the 17th century onwards, you remember
this year?
Yeah, we read 17. So what we are going to do? The best thing would be
highlights.
You just to make a mark that 17. I have found that. Then what? While solving the second one, you don't have to read the first paragraph. You know that it starts from here, and the next question will be next. Let's read it. Human arrival in numbers of thousands. From 17th century onwards, pirates took a few on board, but the arrival of whaling ship in 17th saw the exploitation.
I think there is also important.
Okay. For that answer, we don't have to remember because as long as you can find the beginning, you'll find the later. So, what are the ideas we are getting? Before human arrival, the archipelago tortoise numbered in the hundreds of thousands. From the 17th century onwards, pirates took a few on board for food, but the arrival of whaling ships. What could be the idea of the whole paragraph? Can you guess it? Before human arrival, there were hundreds of thousands of that. So they're talking about what? You see, they're being killed. Relatively immobile and capable of surviving for months without food. Or water. Tortoises were taken on board as release ships to advance food supplies during long ocean passages. Sometimes their bodies were processed into high-grade oil. So what? There are lots of, but human came and they start exploiting them. Why? For food and oil. In total, an estimated 200,000 animals were taken from the archipelago before the 20th century. So what we talked about, how the number kind of decreased. You see, they hunted the tortoise and destroyed their habitat to clear the land for agriculture. This is another reason. They also introduced alien species, and dogs, cats, ranging from cattle, pigs, dogs, rats, dogs to plants and ants that either prey on the eggs and young tortoise or damage and destroy their habitat. So what they talked about here? Can you tell me? So first they talked about they have thousands of them, then the reasons why it decreased, and also what exploitations were there. So they hunted. Then what happened? And they're giving the reasons. So what could be the heading? What could be the best heading? It decreased. Anything with exploitation and how the number decreased. Can you tell me which one? Which one could be the best one? The importance of getting the time right, young Mason, development, devastating tortoise, planning. Which one? Which one? Which one will be the best idea? Heading that encapsulates the whole idea.
The third.
Which one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Which one?
The third one.
One. Yes. Okay. This one, definitely. This one. Development to the disadvantage of those developments. Those are the developments. You know the what are the developments? What are
they change it from the.
Yeah, they killed them. They use it as food. They use to get oil and and destroy their habitat, agriculture, everything. So the number decreased. Fine. Okay. Then what about the next one? Next word. Today
7th
only
century to 20th century.
Okay, now wait. Today only 11 of the original species survive, and if of these, several are highly endangered. In 1989, work began on a tortoise breeding center just outside the town of Porto Velabel in Isabela, dedicated to protecting the island's tortoise population. So what they're talking about so far? Now they're talking about tortoise breeding center, means they're trying to protect them. The center's captive breeding program proved to be extremely successful, and it eventually had to deal with an overpopulation problem. The center's captive breeding programs to be extremely successful. What they're talking about? They started a what? Breeding is a part of conservation, and it was successful. So what could be the heading? There could be what could be the heading? Heading. Which one? Which one? Which will go for? We read about they're trying to increase the number. Which one? Anybody? C. We are talking about paragraph C. C matches with which one? Anybody there?
It will be heading number 7.
Number 7.
Probably.
Looking for a home for the island's tortoise. Are they looking for a home, or is it a home or no? Can you recheck it? It's a conservation project. Breeding is a
Conservation and protection.
Okay. So it's what? It's going to be this one. Today's one is pretty easy. It's not today's one, it's the first one. The first one is usually the easiest. So if it's the first one, always try to get correct all of them. And that's easy. Okay, can you read D and tell me which one? D. First, focus on the heading. What is the first one? The problem was also a pressing one. Means which problem? Huh? Okay, it could be overpopulation. That could be one. The problem is they're talking about, they were so successful, the breeding. What's also pressing one? Pressing means very important one. Captive bred. Tortoise can be reintroduced in the wild until they're at least 5 years old and weigh at least 4.5 kilograms. You get my point? That's the problem. They're very small, but it takes 5 years to put them back to the sea, at which point their size and weight and their hardened shells are sufficient to protect them from. Before that, they fall prey. But if people wait too long after that point, the tortoise eventually become too large to transport. You can't, they become too big and very difficult to, transport. So what could be the heading? What could be the heading? This is easy a little bit because the paragraphs are shorter. What could be the heading? Anybody?
Timing right. Importance of getting the timing right.
Importance of getting the timing right. Could be. Let's see. Then young Meso planning a bigger idea, tortoise population island, carrying out carefully, looking for a home for the island turtle this start. Which one? Do you think that is one? You'd go for one? Which one? Okay, D. The timing. Timing is, other than that, it's become very difficult for them to carry them out, to the ocean. You'll have to transfer them to the ocean. Okay. Now, let's move on to the next one. Listen, for other...
So I can't see anything. Is it related to my connection or...
Oh, you can't see anything? Anybody?
Yeah.
Others, can you see or no? You can see? Others?
Yeah, I can see.
You can see. Yes, we can see.
Maybe it's related to my connection.
Yeah, could be. Sorry for that.
I will leave and join again.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so here, now let's read this one. Can we read E? If it is too short, I will personally ask you to read the whole thing. But focus on the topic center. The topic is the first one. You understand that what they're talking about, then elaborate. You don't then get, so never you can have a heading from the examples. Never. Only the key points. See, for years, repatriation efforts were carried out in small numbers, with tortoise carried on the backs of men over weeks of long, treacherous hikes along narrow trails. You understand? So difficult? The people used to carry them over their back. Repatriation. But in November 2010, the environmentalist and Galapagos National Park, as a liaison officer, Godfrey Merlin, a visiting private motor yacht captain, the helicopter pilot, gathered around a table in a small cafe in Porto Ayoro on the island of Santa Cruz to work out more ambitious reintroduction. How? The aim was to use a helicopter to move 300 of the breeding center's tortoise to various locations close to Sierra Negra. So what they're talking about? I think it was very difficult. They were looking for new ways of transferring, relocating those to some other places. And let's look for that. Which one? Which one do you think? Listen, there are more options. There are more options than their paragraphs. So one or two will be left out. Don't worry about those. So which ones? Is there any chance that you might have two heading for one, two paragraphs having one heading, same heading? Is there any chance?
Yeah, why not?
Then what's the use of writing two paragraphs? There's no point. You get my point? This can never happen. Now, what I'm saying that for two paragraphs, you can have the same heading. It can never, because why should you do that? Okay, anyway, this is not very important here. So which one?
Sir, there is some other question. It's not just about the list of the headline.
That's different question. That's a different type of question. For heading, you'd never find they're saying that two paragraphs can never have one heading. Then
I thought
you get it. That's a different one. That's a different one.
Okay.
And they're saying that two information could be from one paragraph. That's one thing. Two information could be from one, but you can't have two paragraphs. Can't have one heading. Okay. Now which one?
It's for planning a bigger idea.
Okay, could be. It could be. Which one we are doing? Which one we were doing? Now we are E. And then what? Yes, it's going to be planning a big idea. This one. Planning a big idea. What was the big idea? Relocating in a different way. So it should be what? E. Okay. Let's read the other part. F. This is long, but can we read it? This unprecedented effort. Unprecedented means that has never taken place before. Effort was made possible by the owners of the 67-meter yacht White Cloud, who provided the Galapagos National with free use of their helicopter and its experienced pilot, as well as the logistical support of the yacht, its captain and crew. Okay, they're talking about all those logistics. Originally an air ambulance, the yacht's helicopter, the helicopter was basically an air ambulance, has a rear double door and a large internal space that well suited for cargo. So as a custom crate was designed to hold up to 33 tortoises with a total weight of about 150 kilograms. This weight, together with that of fuel, pilot and 4 crew, approached the helicopter's maximum payload. And there were times when it was clearly right on the edge of the helicopter's capability. So it was very weighty. During a period of 3 days, a group of volunteers from the breeding center worked around the clock to prepare the young tortoises for transport. Meanwhile, we're talking just about one idea. There's no 2 or 3 ideas, just one idea. Park wardens dropped off ahead of time in remote locations, cleared landing sites within their thick brush, cacti and lava rocks. What they're talking about? Is it a preparation? Yes. What they did about the preparation, So let's see. Which one could be the heading? Who can tell me which one could be the heading for this one?
It's carrying out a carefully prepared operations.
Okay.
Number 6.
Number 6. Today's one is relatively easy, huh? But the way you are going to do it, it's important. I'm not saying about it could be easy, but if it were the third one, the third passage, things would have been very difficult. The paragraph would have been different, the vocabulary, the language, and everything. What about the next one? We are almost done here. Yes, what about F? Can we read it? Upon their release, the juvenile is young, tortoises quickly spread out over their ancestral territory, investigating their new surroundings and feeding on the vegetation. Eventually, one tiny tortoise came across a fully grown giant who had been lumbering around the island for around 100 years. The two stood aside, side by side, a powerful symbol of the regeneration of an ancient species. So, it's a successful process. They're telling it's the end of a successful process. So, what's that? Which one?
Young meets the old. Number 2.
Okay, fine. So it's number 5. Okay. And this is 2. You got it? This is going to be 2. Sorry. Okay, this one. Okay, so what we have learned from here, I will always suggest you, in most of the cases, they ask you to read the first 4 lines, the last 4 lines. If you're lucky, you will be able to do that. But sometimes it's not as easy as like that. And in other places, you might find the first 4 lines, another 4 lines. Then if you don't find, read the whole thing. But listen, the most important thing, by the time you have read, what my suggestion is, if you're reading this one, think about the first paragraph. You should be able to tell me, try by yourself. You should be able to, okay, this, there's only 1 point, main point, 2 points, or what? Or or 3 points. You get it? 3 points. If you can, then you haven't understood the paragraph. Then you already know, the headings should be within this 3 or 4. Usually there could be 1 or 2 points. Get my point? So you start reading, then what? Always try to follow. If you see a new idea, then you know that there's a new idea. If there are 4 lines covering that new idea, that's 1. The last one, probably another new idea. So you have 3 ideas. Or it could be just 1 whole idea. In some paragraph, 1 whole idea. So practice it. Then what happens? You exactly know. I'm looking for, out of these 3, I'm looking for. It helps. It really helps. Okay. It really helps because it's time tested. I'm not saying something that I haven't tested. I've been teaching 7 to 8 years. And GRE and GMAT for the last 12 or 13 years. So I know what I'm saying. Exactly. I haven't found students going back to other techniques because this is the easiest way. Okay, and read it properly, but so try to do that. Keep on practicing and you will see that things are working out. Okay. So we are done with this one. No, we are not done. So the last one is what? We have some. What's that?
The other part of question.
Okay, the last part is we have, what's that? This one. This one. So this one usually is from what? Okay, we'll have to, once we are done with that, now let's move on to solving this one. What's our advantage? What's our advantage? Previously, what we did, we already mentioned this one while doing the first one. Now I come here. Now when I find that 17th century, now should I have to read for the first? No, I already know. What if this one is here? This one was in C. Then what? I had to read, kind of scan the whole part. It takes time. Okay, now let's move on to 17th century. Small numbers taken onto ships used by something. What could be the answer? What small numbers? Anybody? Here, can you read it? They're talking about something small numbers taken onto ships used by whom? No, they're talking about those tortoises. The tortoises were taken. So we are looking for one word. What? Which one? Who took it?
Ships. Used by
Pirates took it.
Who took it? They're talking, we are looking for what?
Pirates took it.
Used by someone. Okay, ships. They already mentioned ships. So where is the word? Where is the word? Where's that? So onwards, here, pirates. Pirates took a few on board for food. Means on board means on ships. But the arrival of whaling ships in 19. So we are done with that. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, now what's the keyword? 1790. Very large number taken onto whaling ships, kept for something and also used to produce something. Where is the 1790? Here, 1790.
The same paragraph,
yeah.
I think.
Same paragraph. We have the words. We have the words. Then what? Whaling ships. You see? Saw this exploitation. Is it a positive or negative word? Exploitation? It's a negative word. They're exploiting. Exploiting what? They're killing them and they're taking them. Or they're just capturing them. Grow exponentially. Relatively immobile and capable of surviving for months. Without food or water, the tortoises were taken on board the ship to act as food supplies during long ocean passages. They were taken for what? They're taken for what? You know?
As a food supply.
Food supplies.
Let's look here. Kept for what?
Food
Why
supplies.
what's that? And another one, used for to produce something.
Use.
Can we read it again? Here, can we read it here? Taken as what? What they use?
Hydrate.
As what? Here, it says what? Food supplies. You need to just use one word. So what should be the word?
Livestock.
No, food.
Meal.
Food.
Meal. Food. Okay.
Food and oil. Just read
High
it.
grade oil.
High grade. Relatively immobile and capable. Who were immobile? The tortoise were immobile. And surviving for months without food and water. They didn't need anything. They just put it there. They're surviving for months. You see, very easy. The tortoise were taken on board these ships to act as food supplies. They can, eat whenever they wanted during long ocean passage. What about, think about other animals? Chicken. It might die. Right? Might have died. Chicken and other, it would have been more difficult. But here they don't even, move. Sometimes their bodies were processed into high grade oil. So what are the two words we are looking for? Very large numbers were taken to welding ship, kept as what? Food. You write what?
High grade oil.
First, food. First one is food. Sorry, yeah, this is food. And this one?
High grade oil.
No, you can't use all many. How many words you can write? Only one word. So you can write high grade. Only you can write what?
Food and oil.
Food and oil. Done. The next one, hunted by something on the island. So who hunted them on the island? Let's read it. Can you find it out? Who hunted them on the islands? Which animal or anything like that? Was this historical exploitation? What is this word? Exacerbated means? Any idea? This is a GRE word. Means it became worse, much worse. When settlers came to the island, humans. What they did? They hunted the tortoise and destroyed their habitat to clear for agriculture. Then who killed them?
Settlers.
Settlers.
Okay, we are looking for which one? Hunted by settlers. Then the next one, habitat destruction. For the establishment of agriculture and various something not native to the islands, which also fed on baby tortoise and tortoise something. Habitat, how they destroyed their habitat. Habitat means where they live. For the establishment of agriculture and various something, dash not native to the island, which fed on baby tortoise and tortoise something. Can you read it? The answer is here. What they're talking about. They introduced what? Alien species ranging from cattle, pigs, goats, rats, and dogs to plants and ants that either prey on eggs and young tortoise or damage or destroy their habitat. Destroyed their habitat. Let's check it. Okay, can you say it? Can you match the words? Which?
Various species.
Where are the words? Habitat for the establishment by various what?
Species.
Various what?
Islands.
What? Which one? Which one we are looking for? Species and what? And eggs. We're talking about here. Species. Where is this species? You got it? This is the species. And another one is eggs. Here it will be
Eggs.
species and here eggs. Okay. So habitat destruction for the established agriculture. Then what happened? They brought in all these species, dogs and everything. And the dogs, they were able to what? Able to eat the smaller one, the smaller tortoise. And what about the other ants and other stuff? They could eat what? Destroy what? The eggs. Get my point?
Eggs.
So as long as you find it there, so don't worry. It doesn't. So here you'll find it. It's in the first page. The first page you have the answers. So I think this could be the easiest way of doing that. You know, here this was our main idea. You know, say this is what. This was the heading. You know, first page heading. First page, second page. This is, and this one mostly from the what? From the first page, from this part. So I you know, put aside this one separately so you can solve it. Okay, so we are done with what? We're done with this one. Okay. So this is the easiest one, but you have to become expert on each of the types. Then what? You can get more. You can get more time. The first one, try to finish it within 12 or 13 minutes. Then what? For the second one, you get more time. 15. Target 15 minutes. Okay, let's cover it for 17 minutes. Then you can get 20 to 25 minutes for the last one, because the last one is in most of the cases, that's the most difficult one. Get it? Okay.
Sir, I have a question.
Please.
Can we find all the answers in
Oh, I can listen to you. Oh, I miss, you know, it was not working. Can you?
Oh, I just want to say that now we found all the answers in only one paragraph.
Oh, no, there's no guarantee to that. There's no guarantee. You have to be lucky. You have to be lucky. But keep on practicing, you'll get the idea. There's no guarantee. Okay. There's no guarantee. That's the uncertainty of IELTS. You know, not all questions are similar, 100%. You can say that you could be unlucky because there's some difficult question you might get, the other one you may not get. Okay, let's stop. What we'll be doing? What our next? We'll be doing a difficult one. You know, day after tomorrow we'll be having GRE class, and after that we'll be having another session for IELTS. Okay, today let's have a look at what the essay types. So we have 5 tasks. You know, listen, you have to understand every type. You know, don't think that everything is similar. It's still kind of similar, but there's some rules. The examiner, they want to see whether you understand that. They have made the rules. That's the idea. So if you really want to get good marks, try to follow them. That keep you safe. Okay, so opinion essay is one. Opinion, do you agree or disagree? Discussion, you know, discuss both sides, or discuss both sides and give your opinion. Problem solution, they're saying that this is causing a lot of problems. Internet. How can we mitigate the problems caused by it? Okay, so that's a problem solution. Advantage and disadvantage. There's some advantage, there's disadvantage. Do you think that the advantage is outweigh the disadvantage in some cases? Think about internet. They might say that internet is giving us a world of advantages, but at the same time, it's creating some problems that are kind of literally killing us in some cases. Then they might, do you think that the advantages clearly outweigh the what? Outweigh the disadvantages? Yeah, that could be one. Today, we are going to talk about the double question essay. Can anybody give me an example? What's a double question essay? You might get any of these. There's no guarantee which one you'll get, but be prepared for everything. Today, we'll discuss about, every day, we'll discuss one type of essay. So today, we are going to discuss about what? Double question essay. We're going to talk about double question essay. Any idea about double question essay? Any idea? Okay, so let's see. We will we'll be checking in our website. You know, it's quite good. I will read from there, and finally they will give a sample essay. Huh? Okay, let's see whether we can go there. Whether we can go there. Firdausi, madam, are you there? Firdausi, madam. Hello. Okay. So just a moment. Give me. I think. Where is that? Oh, where is that? I had it. Wait, just give me a moment. Just give me a moment. Minimize Zoom. Okay. Just give me a moment.
Okay, take your time.
Just give me a moment. Okay, you can see this one. You know, is it clear? Everybody, you can see this.
Yeah, I can see.
Yeah. Okay. So this is, you can check out this website. It's a Ice Jackie. It's pretty good. You know, everything is good. But what happens sometimes we don't read it. The problem is there could be many websites we don't have the passion to, and the time, and the the patience to read it. Okay, let's read it together and understand that how this kind of essay, how to plan and write as double question essays. As double question essays are also known as the direct question or two questions essay. If you get this kind of essay, it's better to write it in this way. Get my point? Other than that, they think that you don't know how to write it, and they're divorced. That's the problem. They're distinguished by two characters. What? They have one statement with two different questions after that. The question may be like this. This is a sample. If you get this kind of question, you'll have to write. Fossil fuels are essential for producing electricity, powering industry and fueling transportation. However, one day we'll reach a point when all the world's fossil fuels have been depleted. How can we conserve these resources? Here, this is the prompt. This is the prompt, and these are the questions. There are two questions. How can we conserve these resources, and what are some alternatives to fossil fuels? Okay, another one. Some parents buy their children whatever they ask for and allow their children to do whatever. This is a statement. Then two questions. See, is this a good way to raise children? What consequences could this style of parenting have for children as they grow older? Okay, the next one, the arts, including art, music, and theater, are considered to be important in society. Do you think the arts still have a place amongst our modern lifestyles, and should the arts be? So you see, this is the question, and we have two. Then we have two questions. These are called what? What's the name? Double question. Double question. This is one type, and double question. And sometimes it's also direct question or double question. Let's see how to write these. So Here, what we'll be covering. If you want to see it in the video, you can even see it at the video. I will send you the link, this one. Huh? You can even check it at home. So essay structure, 3 common mistakes with this kind of essay. What should be the essay structure, how to plan, how to write an introduction, how to write the main body paragraphs, and how to write a conclusion. Okay, so 3 common. What are the biggest mistake usually students do? These are the 3 common mistakes in IELTS double. Don't do this mistake while answering this kind of question. Not answering both questions fully. What are the questions? This question. This, the below. You'll have to answer is both, a balanced one. Not outlining both answers in the introduction. In the introduction, you must mention, you must have clear idea about both the, both the question. When I'll be reading the introduction, আমি যখন introductionটা পড়বো, যাতে আমি বুঝি যে ওই দুইটা question, মানে আমি যখন introduction পড়বো, I should understand the 3 parts, all 3 parts. I should, even without looking at this question, আমি যাতে বুঝি যে you are dealing with 3 of these. আমার কথা বুঝছেন? কেউ বুঝছেন? সবাই বুঝছেন? Hello? Do you understand? Anybody? মানে এইটা পড়ে আমাকে যাতে, কেউ আছেন সবাই নাকি না? আছেন আপনারা?
Yes, we are there.
আচ্ছা আচ্ছা, এইটা পড়ে আমি যাতে ইন্ট্রোডাকশন পড়েই এইটা না দেখেই বলতে পারি যে এই জিনিসের কথা নিয়ে আমরা আলোচনা করব, তাহলে আপনাকে কিন্তু স্কিলফুলি লিখতে হবে। সো all this information should be in the information, not in the question form, but in different ways. এটা না হলে কি হচ্ছে, it's not a good conclusion, minded. Exactly. Many students make the mistake of only answering one of the questions. If there are 2 questions, you'll have to what? You'll have to
answer them.
See, many students make the mistake of only answering one of the questions or focusing more on one question than the other question, which leads to the unbalanced essay. Both these errors will seriously affect your score for task achievement. What are the 4 criteria? Task achievement, then coherence, cohesion, your vocabulary, and your final is grammar, range and grammar. Vocabulary, range, and accuracy. 4. You must outline everything you are going to write about in the introduction. Introduction এই টাইপের, আমি পরে আপনি কি করবেন না করবেন, what you're going to write about, you'll have to write in the introduction. Introduction is very important. This is your blueprint for the whole essay. Blueprint মানে introduction is very important. I will show you how to do this and get your essay off to a great start. It's easy to mistake. It's easy. It's easy to make to mistake. I'll double question for one of the other types, 4 types of essays, especially opinion or discussion essays. Our opinion essay, we also have discussion. Don't mix it up. Each should be answered in a slightly different way. There are reasons to answer. Analyzing the question properly is essential to avoiding this error. You'll have to analyze the question first. If you do that, you're not going to make this pitfall or mistake. I'll also show you how to do this and give you a simple 4-part structure of planning this essay. কি ধরনের structure করবে, what should be the best structure for this kind of question? Let's look at this essay structure straight away. You can use it to write any IELTS double, you get any kind of, this is a good structure. It's easy to learn and will enable you to quickly plan and write a high-level essay. You write an introduction, you write a main body, you write a main body paragraph, second one, and the conclusion. What should go into introduction? You paraphrase the question. You write it in your own word. You must write it, paraphrase. Don't expect. Think about anybody who will be reading, or he or she doesn't have the question. While reading your answers or introduction, he or she should be able to, even without the question, should be able to understand what was the question. You get my point? Okay. Paraphrase the question, outline sentence, state your answers, main topic sentence, the main, and then explanation, develop the idea, example. We'll see the whole, give an example. You know, the same thing, but we have two of these. You see, we have two of these, two. One for this one for this one, another for this one. So it should be balanced. One for this paragraph, one for this paragraph. Let's see. And conclusion summarize both questions and answers. Question and answer. The structure will give you a well balanced. See how to plan এটা যেমন এইটা যদি থাকে আমাদের if we have this one, সবাই শুনছেন দেখছেন যারা আছেন শুনতে পাচ্ছেন? Hello, can you hello?
Yeah, we
Oh,
can
you're
hear you.
Okay. Fossil fuels are essential for producing electricity, power industry, and fueling transportation. However, one day we'll reach a point when all the world's fossil fuel have been depleted. Means that it's very beneficial for us, but there will be a time when we won't have this fuel. How can we conserve these resources, or what is the alternative? So let's see how. Analyze the question, generate the ideas, and identify the vocabularies. Analyze the question. What are these? This is an essential step in planning process and will ensure that you answer the question fully. It's quick and easy to. First, we'll have to find the topic words, other keywords, and instruction words. Three types of. What are the topic words? Topic words are the ones that identify the general subject of the question and will be found in the statement part of the question. Right here, this is the statement. They're saying this is the statement. What's the fossil? They're basically talking about what? Fossil fuel. This is the most important thing. They're not talking about other stuff. Mostly not electricity, not industry, not transportation, but rather the fossil fuel. Fossil fuels are essential for producing electricity, powering industry, and fueling transportation. However, one day we will reach a point when. So we will have to focus the whole thing on fossil fuel. If you focus on another thing, you're not going to get marked. Many people will do this first step to the process and then write about the topic in general. No, you're not writing topic in general. This is a serious mistake and leads to low mark for the task achievement. You'll have to focus on fossil fuels. Now that we know that the general topic is, we need to understand exactly what aspect of fossil fuels we are being asked to write about. Not general in fossil fuel, but a special. Okay, the other keywords in the question tell us the specific things. Say the specific. Now we know that we'll be dealing with fossil fuels, and now specific ones. What's that? What's that specific? Conserve and alternatives. Okay, here fossil fuels, and now what are the keywords? Other keywords, conserve. These should get the focus. By highlighting these words, it's easy to identify the topic. Your essay must only include ideas relevant to these ideas, not other ideas. If you write it, it will be out of scope. You are not complying with what? Task achievement. Out of 9, each of the 4 criteria: task achievement, cohesion, coherence, grammar, and finally vocabulary. Each carry 9 marks each, and they will add it up, they will divide it by 4, and that's your average, that's your score. Instruction words. What's the instruction words? Are the question themselves. These ones last. This tells you exactly what type of information is required, and each become a topic of each of the words. How can we conserve? What are some of these are the focus. How, conserve, what, alternative. The first body paragraph will answer the first question, how. The second body paragraph will answer the second question, what. Now let's generate ideas. What are the next task is to generate some idea to write about. There are several different ways to think of ideas. I covered them fully. Okay, I say essay. So I will send the link of this website. You can just check those out. The other parts. We are going to use the Friends technique. There is a method I prefer as it allows you to keep a step back from the stress of the examination situation and think more calmly. Here is how it works. Imagine that you are in a casual conversation with a friend over a cup of coffee, and they ask you this question: what are the first thoughts to come into your head? Plan your essay around these ideas. Doing this will help you to come up with simple answers in everyday language rather than straining your brain to think of amazing ideas using high-level language, which isn't necessary. You might want to try this yourself before reading onto your ideas. Here are some ideas as I thought of them. How can we conserve? Now we are dealing with conservation. These resources become more energy conscious and more energy efficient. Use more renewable energy sources, solar panels. All new homes should be built with solar panels. Use car less, walk, cycle, public transport only, travel when really necessary. Energy efficient light bulbs. This is the conservation aspect. What about the alternatives? Let's do the other. Solar power, wind power, wave energy, tidal energy, biomass energy, and geothermal energy. Don't spend long on this, as you will need one or more ideas. You are not going to write all the ideas. You don't get time. It's only 40 minutes. You'll have to plan for 10 minutes, then usually write for 30 minutes. There's so much to write about this topic that we have to be very careful. We don't try to include too many different ideas and just end up with a list of each question rather than a well-developed essay. So if you bring in too many ideas, what's the problem? You won't be able to discuss about each of the problems. So sometimes it's better to talk with fewer topics, fewer issues, but go into details. Let's see. Choose one main idea for each of the questions. My advice on making your selection is to choose ideas that you can quickly think of examples. Just look at those, where you can come up with examples. Go for those, not the other one, because you'll have to give examples. That's a must. Choose one main idea for each of them. Here are my choices. How can we conserve these resources? How? Use cars less, walk, cycle, public transport. What are the alternatives of fossil? What are the alternatives? This person, is thinking natural forces, solar and wind power, wave and tidal together, as a whole. You're almost ready to start writing our IELTS double question essay. First, we have one other small things to do, vocabulary. During the planning stage, quickly jot down some vocabulary that comes to your mind as you decide which ideas you are going to write about, especially synonyms of keywords. This will save you having to stop and think of the right language while you are writing. For the ideas I have chosen, useful words include, he or she just thought about this: sustainable, renewable energy, and energy efficient. Energy efficient. Just a moment. Okay, so with that done, now we are moving to writing. Let's move. How to write an introduction. The best introduction to IELTS double question essays have a simple two-part. Paraphrase the question first, then what? Paraphrase the question. Paraphrase the question and outline the sentence. State your own answers of both questions, not one question. Having to, it should be 2-3 sentences, be 40 to 60 words long and take 5 minutes to write. Paraphrase the question. Here was the question. Fossil fuels are essential. Essential for paraphrasing means writing in your own words. Don't copy it. Fossil fuels are essential to producing electricity, powering industry, and fueling transportation. However, one day we will reach a point when all the world's fossil fuels have been depleted. How can we rewrite it? The world is currently reliant on oil, coal, and natural gas for the majority of its energy requirements. But there will come a time when these run out. Nothing else. You're showing that you can rewrite in your own words. In some cases, you can use other words. That's up to you. We are simply saying the same thing in different way and using different vocabularies. Outline statement, what's that? That's the second part in your introduction. We now we need to add an outline statement where we will outline 2 main points that we'll cover in the rest of the essay. That is the answer to the 2 questions. We need to be very specific about what we are going to write about. Here is a reminder of the ideas I have chosen to answer the 2 questions. How can we conserve these resources? Use car. You know, I have already selected. What are the alternatives? Natural. Now let's see, because we'll have to cover, we'll show them that in the introduction, I'm going to talk about this and I'm going to talk about this. You know, both of, I'll cover this here. The essay will discuss how we can help to prevent our non-renewable resources from becoming depleted by using our cars less frequently, and it will name some natural forces that can be harnessed to generate power. Either say for this word you might get good mark. Harness is a good word. Renewable resources, good word. Depleted, good words for vocabulary. So here, if someone reads it, you'll be able to understand, he or she will be able to understand what the paragraphs are going to talk about. And I'm giving them some kind of idea. Note my use of synonym to replace keywords in the question. I'm using some of the words in the keywords, but synonyms, advanced synonym. You don't have to replace every keyword, but do so where possible, whilst ensuring that your language sounds natural. So let's bring two elements of our Okay, so what about introduction? Let's see, it's a complete introduction. The world is currently reliant on oil, coal, and natural gas for the majority of its energy requirements, but there will come a time when this run out. This essay will discuss how we can help to prevent our non-renewable resources from becoming depleted by using our cars less frequently, and it will name some natural forces that can be harnessed to generate power. The introduction achieves these three important functions. What are those? It shows the examiner that you understand the question. It acts as a guide to the examiner as to what your essay is about. That's the first part. And it also helps you keep focus and track on your essay. The two ideas in your intro will become now two main paragraphs. Let's write those paragraphs. Main body paragraphs, use car. And the second one is renewable energy. How to write the main body paragraph? Main body paragraphs in IS double should contain at least three things. What's topic sentence? The first sentence, the most important sentence, state your answer. Explanations and example. Each of the paragraph, it must have these three ideas. Main one, can we see? The first paragraph, the topic sentence summarizes the main idea of the paragraph. That paragraph is all it needs to do is, it doesn't have to be complicated. It plays an important role in ensuring that your ideas flow logically from one to another. It does this by acting as a signpost for what is to come next. This is what the paragraph will be about. If you maintain a clear development of ideas throughout your essay, you will get high marks for task achievement and cohesion and coherence. These are criteria. Two criteria. We'll now take the idea for our first main body paragraph and create one topic sentence. What's the topic sentence? See, the first one. Conserving energy is responsible for every individual and important way in which we all do our bit is to use more energy efficient means of transportation. You see why? Use less car. Why we are going to do that? Conserving is responsibility for every individual and important way in which we can all do our bits to use more energy. So this is the main. So people will understand how we are going to accomplish this. This is the key word, the key idea. Now, explanation sentence. The second sentence, the easiest way to do is to leave car at home and walk or cycle to a destination if it's not too far away, or take public transportation for longer journey. Another way to reduce we are explaining how it's going to be done. Way to reduce our fuel consumption is through car share. Explanation. Now, finally, add an example to support our main points. If you can think of a real example, it's fine to make up one as long as it's believable. The examiner isn't going to check your facts. Alternatively, you can add another piece of information to support your idea, but an example is better. Arekta idea there, but example. Whenever my friends and I get together for coffee, we agree to meet up at a cafe that can we can get without having to drive our cars there. We usually go on foot or ride our bikes. If everyone makes small decisions like this, it would make a real difference. This is an example. These are the example. That's all three parts of the main. Okay, let's see, can we see the whole paragraph? Conserving energy is a responsibility, for every individual and an important way in which we can all do our bit is to use more energy efficient means of transport. The easiest way to do this is to leave the car at home and walk or cycle to our destination. If it isn't too far away, or take public transport for longer journeys. Another way to reduce our fuel consumption is to car share. Tarpor example ta dicchi. That's example. That whenever my friends and I get together for coffee, we agree to meet up. We could have gone far, but we are not doing that because we want to conserve energy. At a cafe that we can get each without having to drive our cars there, we usually go on foot or ride our bikes. If everybody made small decision like that, it would. Now, we now follow the same process for the second paragraph. Second paragraph, এইবার হচ্ছে কি renewable energy নিয়ে আমি কথা বলছি. Topic sentence. The most sustainable alternative to fossil fuel are the generation of power from natural forces such as the sun, wind, and ocean. This is the topic sentence. So after reading that, then I will understand we are going to talk about this one. It's a signpost. Explanation sentence: solar and wind are already widely used across the world, but it is wave power and tidal energy that have the greatest untapped potential. Untapped means we haven't yet discovered, the potentiality to provide for our energy needs in the future. This is the explanation sentence. Now, example. A report recently commissioned in the United Kingdom estimates that tidal energy could meet as much as 20% of the UK's current electricity demands once the technology being developed is operational. Wave energy conservation conversational energy convert the expected to prove equally successful in the long term. So here, এটা হচ্ছে second part, this is third paragraph, and this one is the second paragraph. But here together, topic sentence, explanation sentence, and example sentence. The examiner is looking for all these criteria. Just write these three together. The most sustainable alternative to food. So fossil fuel, we are talking about the alternative. Solar. Each of the sentences have a reason to be there. Don't write whatever you like. It doesn't help. The examiners are looking for sentences that has a reason to be there. Introduction, topic sentence, then what? Usually explanation, then the what? Example. Now we need a conclusion. How to write a conclusion? The conclusion is a summary of the main points in your essay and can often be done in a single sentence. It should never include new ideas. No new. Whatever you have talked about, write those. Never bring in new ideas in the conclusion. If you're below the minimum 250 words after you have written your conclusion, you can add prediction or recommendation statement. Jodi dekha jay je you haven't been able to complete 250 words, তখন prediction or recommendation. Other than that, there's no need. Our essay is already over minimum and word limit, so we don't need this extra sentence, but you can learn more about how to write a prediction or recommendation statement for IELTS double question essays on the task 2 conclusion page. This website also, if I click here, they will take me to how to write conclusion. You can check this out. This is a pretty good website. Jackie's IELTS. The conclusion is the easiest sentence in the essay to write. Let's see how they have written. Neatly end the essay. A good conclusion will neatly end the essay, link all your ideas together, sum up your argument or opinion, answer the question. Let's see. If you achieve this, you will improve your score for both task achievement and cohesion, and which together make up 50% of the overall mark. Without a conclusion, you will score below band 6 of task. You must write a conclusion, must. You can start almost any final paragraph of an IELTS double question essay with the words in conclusion to conclude. It doesn't really matter whether you write very fancy words instead of these. Now, all you need to do is briefly summarize. Here is a top tip. Go back and read the introduction to the essay, because this is also a summary to the essay. It outlines what you're going to write about. To create a great conclusion, you simply have to paraphrase the introduction. Let's see how they're written. Introduction, what was the introduction? The world is currently reliant on oil, coal, natural gas for the majority of its energy requirements, but there will come a time when these run out. This essay will discuss how we can help to prevent our non-renewable resources from becoming depleted by using our cars less frequently, and it will name some natural forces. How can we write it? Harness. Okay, we know that. In conclusion, our Earth's resource of fossil will not last forever, and we need to be continually developing. The same idea, but in a different way, different light. Developing new ideas to enable us to produce energy from renewable sources such as the sun, wind, and water. In the meantime, we can help to slow the rate of depletion by leaving the car at home and using more energy efficient form of transport whenever possible. Paraphrase, it's not paraphrase, I'm saying that kind of the same idea, but in a different way. That's it. We have completed you can even check out other websites also. How to write introduction. The more you see, you will have a clear idea. So this was the question, and this was the whole essay, and this was almost 351 words. Too long. Too long, you can't help it. Sometimes you'll have to write it. So this was just this is a double. This is the way a double. So let me finish it by reading this one. By reading it together for the last time, so we can. Let's read it. The world is currently. What was the question? Fossil fuels are essential for producing energy, powering industry, and fueling transportation. However, one day we will reach a point when all the world's fossil fuels have been depleted. How can we conserve these resources? What are some alternatives? So if you are asked to write, this is a double question or direct question, IELTS Task 2 essay. I'm not saying this is the only way to write, but this is a pretty good. Then you can check other websites as well, other books as well. The world is currently reliant on oil, coal, and natural gas for the majority of its energy requirements, but there will come a time when this run out. This essay will discuss how we can help to prevent our non-renewable resources from becoming depleted by using our cars less frequently, and it will name some natural forces that can be harnessed to generate power. Conserving energy is responsible for every individual. This is the topic sentence of first paragraph. And an important way in which we can all do our bit is to use more energy efficient means of transport. Now we are explaining. The easiest way to do is to leave the car at home and walk or cycle to a destination. If it isn't too far away, or take public transport for longer journeys. Another way to reduce our fuel consumption is to car share. These are, okay. Now it was It was explanation. Now let's move on to the example. Whenever my friends and I get together for coffee, we agree to meet up. So how we are going to write that? Okay. Okay, anyway, probably I can do that. Okay, so whenever my friends and I get together for coffee, we agree to meet up at a cafe that we can each get to without having to drive our cars there. We usually go on foot or ride our bikes. If everyone made small decision like that, you do. Okay, and another paragraph. That's what we're talking about. The second issue, the most sustainable alternative to fossil fuels are the generation of power from natural sources such as the sun, wind, and ocean. This was the topic sentence. Now, explanation. Solar and wind power are already widely used across the world, but it is wave power